Welcome to the Good Morning from the Chicken Coop podcast with Kim Johnson, your creative strategist and master mindset coach. Filled with inspiration, distinctions, perspectives, and possibilities, we help you to cultivate a mindset that leads you to create the best version of yourself you could ever imagine. Join Kim every morning from one of her favorite happy places, her chicken coop, along with all her chickens.
Hey everybody, good morning, and obviously we are at the chicken coop. As you can hear, someone's in there doing her work, laying an egg, and letting everybody know what's happening. So today, let's talk about standards. What exactly are standards? Well, usually they are defined, by what you believe you are going to work to. You set something and you say, okay, I do it 100%. I have this joke in my family that we don't do things less than 100%. If we're going to put ourselves out there, we're going to do it at 100%. And I will joke around and I'll say, well, that's a 70% effort. And what's honestly strange is that many companies actually measure standards of their workers, and they'll say, if we can get 80% out of them, we're hitting the home run. Because they don't think that, and they don't believe that their workers will work to 100% for them, which is, instead of just settling for the 80 or attempting to get to the 80, they're willing to not even look at what the real issue is here as to why somebody won't work up to 100% for them. And we ourselves have this issue within our own world of having standards and how we do things. So I love to use this analogy because I think it tells a lot. So let's say you're working on something and you're sitting there and you've got a piece of paper and a pencil and you write stuff down and then it's not right and you want to crumple it up and throw it away. And you see the trash can and you crumple it and you throw it to the trash can. Your intent in that moment, as simple as this example is, your intent in that moment is to get that paper in that trash can because you're throwing it at the trash can. But you miss. So, a moment of awareness. What do? Do you get up and go put it in the trash can because that was your intent and you complete your, action? Or do you say, well, I'll get it the next time because I'm going to just be sitting here and I'm going to be doing this over and over and over? That one small example, albeit extremely small, is a great way to start to check in on yourself, because oftentimes we won't get up and we won't go get it. And our standards say, it's okay, I can let that go. I can let that go, even though my intention was to get it in there, I can let it go. So standards dictate everything that you do. They dictate how you will go out in the world. Will you, get up in the morning? Will you get dressed? A lot of us work from home now, so do we work in our pajamas? Do we make our beds? Military has an awesome standard when it comes to this. It's like everybody must make their bed. You've got one win for the day when you set it up and you make your bed every day. But this is stacked upon everything. So everything that you do reflects back on what your standards are. But here's the challenge. How many of you listening have ever had somebody say, what's your standards for how you handle your work? What's your standards for how you handle your children? What's your standards for how you conduct your house or your business? We often have a mission statement that we get involved with, whether we work for a company or we have a company. We'll have a mission statement, which is somewhat quasi setting the standards. This is who we are. It's a statement more about who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. But it's not necessarily a conduct of how we're going to go out there and do its standards. And for me personally, this is something that I was introduced to many years ago at a Tony Robbins event and talking about your standards. And it changed my world because while I had always had very high standards for myself academically, I realized that there were other ones that I didn't have physically, working out, taking care of myself, drinking enough water, doing certain things. And when I started examining it, I was able to change a lot about my world because I was able to really fix specific issues, especially with parenting, being creative, which is a very, very important part of our well-being as human beings. And it's necessary, it's absolutely necessary to view this and look at what are my standards. So today, I'm going to challenge you all to sit there and think about, write it down. Figure out, what are your standards? Any area will work, but what are your standards? And this isn't about going out and making other people conform to your standards. Let me be very clear about this. This is not about other people. This is about you holding you to your standards. This isn't about forcing other people to go to your standards. Give you a great example of that. I have a standard that I won't go to sleep unless my kitchen sink is empty, clean, everything's put away. I just don't tolerate it because I don't want to wake up in the morning and see what was left over. Every day, there's a fresh start in that moment when you walk out. Well, every moment's a fresh start, but that moment you walk out, the last thing you want to see is dishes. So I have a very high standard for keeping that kitchen absolutely clean. Now, do I put that on my husband? Do I put that on my son? No, that's my standard. If they want to adhere to that and they want to be able to have their own version of that standard, great. Do I ask for help? Absolutely. But that's not about me getting mad if they don't or they can't, because it's my rule, my standard. So we got to be very careful with this, and I want to throw that out there, but I want you to first know, what are your standards? So spend some time today, figure that out, and I think it will be very enlightening to you. And we will enter more of this conversation about others and our standards in a next podcast. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.